Hello, hello, everyone. This is Annalisa with Inside Real Estate, and I am thrilled to have, of course, Ryan Hartman, our marketing guru, with us, but also a special guest, Damian Hall, who is with luxury real estate background. And we're going to click a Neigh with Damian Hall and speaking to his luxury horse estates, how he got established into that niche, how he identified it, knew that was one of his strengths. And we're going to just talk about the real estate industry, and then we're going to speak to how he has set, how he set those services apart from the competition and getting into online social media presence primarily within Instagram and how you can leverage it. So welcome, Damian Hall.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
Me too.
I'm ready to click and watch me Neigh.
Right. Well, see, there you go. See, now everybody's got the earworm, which is like mission accomplished.
Absolutely. You're gonna have to trademark that so I can borrow that on some ads.
Oh, go for it. It's free licensing. I mean, I'd Soldier Boy, he might come after me, right? So I know you've been in the real estate industry for a while. So what has been your history, or how did you get started in the industry?
So if you go way back, my grandmother has been in the business since early 80s. So I was born in 84, and I grew up following her around with her old briefcase and her old bag phone she would give me when the technology improved and she moved on to other devices. I would get her old ones. So kind of caught the real estate bug from my grandmother. And then fast forward to 2006, I was a senior in college in Charleston. And I really picked up the interest for real estate again. Charleston's a beautiful city with, just absolutely stunning homes built in, 1700s and just beautiful architecture. So I sat for my real estate test and took the class and passed it, got my license in late 06, early 2007, started working for one of the top agents in Charleston as her assistant. And that I was pre-law and political science in college, but when I graduated, I said, well, this is fun because, it was 2007. We're selling $2 million houses south of Broad in Charleston like they're hotcakes. I said, I'm going to jump in full-time into real estate before law school, and we'll see how this pans out. And then, fast forward now, 2019, I'm loving real estate. I'm so glad I made that decision.
Wow, that's incredible.
So really my current role, sort of Damian Hall Group, came into fruition about 2011. From 2007 to about 2009, I was working for that other agent, became her assistant and then team manager and buyer's agent. And then 2008, 2009 happened, and I sort of took some time off, refocused, and about late 2009, I moved up to the mountains of North Carolina, where my grandmother's had her firm with her Remax up there, and started working alongside her again in the mountains in upstate South Carolina. And then I also simultaneously started a long-term property management company, sort of to sustain ourselves through, the downtime.
Right, the time, yeah.
And then that ended up becoming one of the region's biggest property management firms. I sold that in 2015. And then we started a vacation rental company at the same time. We grew that in the mountains of Western North Carolina and around the new Tryon International Equestrian Center. And then sold that last year. So basically took a little property management tumble in, 09 to 2015, and started jumping back full-time into real estate in 2011 with the Damian Hall Group. Sorry, that's the long-winded route.
That's fine. I mean, it's neat information because it helps us understand, this doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness and persistence and consistency, for sure.
Oh, now, absolutely, and a lot of resiliency. I mean, you take a beating, you get back up.
Right. Well, yeah, you might have some ice cream or chips that night, but the next day you're like, all right, I'm on it.
Exactly. A bottle of wine.
Yeah, right, exactly. So we're in your seasonal rentals. That's is it the Tyron Vacation Rentals, which is also a part of your business, correct?
Yeah, so that it was Try on
Okay.
Retreats, and that was purchased by Yonder. So now what you're
Oh,
looking at
gotcha.
is the new
Okay.
company's website. So probably, yep, need to take that link off. But that was the company.
Okay. And it looks like you got the Paris Mountain Real Estate, which is coming soon or something of that nature, maybe. Let's see here.
So Damian,
Okay.
Damian has a conversion or a KV core site I see there.
Yes, he has the K plus
And
site.
how long have you been on it, Damian? Just curious with us.
Since way back when, I think it was 5 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we've come into inside real estate with you guys, and just really loving the evolution and where we are now. I've probably, I mean, honestly, I've been crazy busy in the last year, so there are some enhancements that I want to do. I think there's some new custom home sites that they're doing now that we can update and
Hmm.
get a fresh take on it. But as far as the functionality and the innovation on the sites, we're loving those and trying to maximize those, and keep up with you guys on all the different ways that you're putting out there to get leads in.
Right. Well, and I think as the people are looking at this, I mean, they're seeing you have this beautiful video that greets viewers, and this is something all of you, can put as your own homepage on your own domain. So we'll make sure I include links on that in the doc. But this is something you can drop in and have a video playing to greet people, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, and that's a stunning, that brings people in. That's a view of our downtown area, and that's,
Hmm.
really grabs people their attention, especially the rolling video.
Yeah, it's beautiful and it's welcoming, and it's a forward up motion, which is where you want people to move up and forward. It's like it's taking you on a path.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
And
so when you think of yourself and your services, how do you define yourself, maybe over your competition, or what has proven to be the consistent factor people come back to you?
that's a good question. There are a couple of different variables to that. So our pretty much everything we do has to, if it's leaving my office, it needs to be perfect. And that's
Hmm.
from the postcards we send out to the business cards we order in to, flyers for property, the video, everything has to come in and, not look half-assed or slacked
Right.
on any front. So I'm very, very picky when it comes to, basically our brand, if that is our
Hmm.
brand. It's,
So a
it's our,
meticulous look over, make sure it's all continuity is there and the messaging is the same.
of course, yeah. And does it look fresh? Is it a video? If it's a video, is it going to get attention, or are people going to scroll right by it? If it's a
Right.
direct mail piece, is it going to end up in the trash can, or is it going to draw people's attention? Because otherwise, it's just a waste of money and time putting your efforts into something that's just, not going to get you any attention by, the people we're
Right.
trying to get in front of. So yeah, we're basically, we're marketing is sort of what we're known for. So we have always been innovative in how we market our properties and how we pitch
Hmm.
those. And that is, of most recently relying heavily on social media. So we do, a pretty extensive launch for our gorgeous properties. And
Right.
then we have a couple of our different outlets that we, package those up and promote those on. So that's anywhere from LinkedIn to Facebook to, now Insta.
Hmm.
Um, and then, our email database of 15,000 people. We have a beautiful, email template that goes out to all of our database. So we've
Right.
kind
That
of
market
created this.
report was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did see
And
that.
we try
Yeah.
to keep everything consistent. So, you're seeing the same look and vibe and feel,
Hmm.
and people appreciate that. And so we kind of attract them into our ecosystem via email or social, and then they become one of our followers, and then they see, oh, that's a beautiful property, or that's a beautiful property, and
Right.
they start to click and engage with your content because even whether they're in the market or not, you're putting out, really pretty, beautiful things they like to look at, and people love to look at children, babies, puppies, and houses.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
that's
mean, honestly, when I found your page on Instagram, I think I knew you were with K Plus, but didn't like know you, like I hadn't talked to you or interacted really the whole lot. And then I was like, wow, this is a pretty amazing page. I'm going to keep an eye on this. And then I just started like asking you questions and watching your stories and saying hi. And it is an amazing feed. So let me go ahead and bring that up real quick.
Yeah, and that, part of what the cool thing about how we're doing business is we're attracting these beautiful architecturally stunning properties to us.
Mm-hmm.
So, but by doing that, we build up an arsenal of good professional photos and video content that we can put out there that we've already paid for and produced. So we're having to do it anyway to market our properties and our listings. So we
Right.
can basically take from that, content file that we have and start breaking off pieces and putting that out there on Instagram and,
Make it
Facebook.
work.
Yeah, and it helps give you a sexy, beautiful profile and page that gets attention and engagement, which is the ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I know you've got the amazing videos, and you also do a lot of different type of community events and uh, homeowner appreciation or past client appreciation events, and you've been very consistent on keeping that branding and that still it's a homey feel on your social media, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, and I try to employ like the hub and spoke concept of that. So we'll have a couple of different lead generational kind of things like the happy hour client appreciation event, or our listings being the hub, and then from that we just break off the beautiful branded content or photos or
Right.
video off of that central piece into our dripped out into our social media campaigns, and that helps us with engagement and helps garner the reputation that we have of doing gorgeous, stunning job being leaders in marketing and media. And
Well, it's really exciting and phenomenal to see, and I know that you have a lot of fun with it as well, because I think you engage your teammates as well, like with different stories on your page. I think I saw you take someone out to get fitted for a suit, like their very first suit ever, right?
yeah. So one of
Yeah.
the things that we've created last fall, we created the $1 Million Listing Show, DHG, for Damian Hall Group. So we're doing our own web series, launch of play on the Bravo show, and that's been very, very well received. So from that, we do two of those shows a month. They're about 5 to 7 minutes a show, an episode.
Right.
And by doing the episodes, we kind of give people a behind the scenes. This is what we do. Kind of, it's not scripted. It's not. It's fresh. They're coming with us as we're doing events. And we're doing some fun things like introducing Nick to our ecosystem, and that's when we took Nick to the men's clothing store to
Right.
get him, to upgrade his wardrobe, so to speak.
That was fun.
Yeah, so we try to be entertaining with different topics like that,
Yeah.
and make it a light show. And then from that show, again, we're able to, that gives us content that we're able to put out on our Instagram channels, our Facebook feeds, and LinkedIn, and everywhere like that too. So that is just another element of content we're creating to get people to know, like, and trust us.
Yes. Yeah, Ryan.
So Damian, you mentioned the hub and spoke approach. I've heard a little bit about this, but I think it's a really, tactically. Can we dive in a little bit more on that, on the specific, how the approach works and the specific types of content you do? And do you have a schedule that you follow in general?
Yeah, good question. So I did not, I learned a lot of the hub and spoke method from Tom Ferry. So that's sort of between him and Gary Vaynerchuk are sort of where I've compiled this, from watching them put out content and seeing how they do it. I've just sort of emulated that. So they basically take this core, which is any content. So whether that's a new listing video, whether that's, a web series you're promoting, or, your local town's hottest restaurant video clip. So you take one piece of content, and then from that, you direct it out to all your channels. So your channels are Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, could be Pinterest, your email database. So basically, it consists of everywhere that you're putting content out are the spokes around that central hub of that content piece that you're trying to put out, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, because if every hub you have out there, every spoke is going to bring people directly back to you, which is like the whole purpose.
Exactly, yeah, and that's it. And then we take that a little bit, one step further too, and we adapt PR strategy too. So we actually have a lot of great relationships with the local newspapers and magazines, and USA Today. So we have a gorgeous property. We'll pitch that to, a local newspaper, and just like you'll see, there's that castle with the red ceiling on it that you just scroll by. That
Right.
is,
Yeah. Oh, this place was
that's,
amazing.
yeah. I mean, the pictures are absolutely stunning. I mean, that's going to get so much attention on its own. We don't have to jump up and down and say, hey, come check out my property,
Right.
come buy this home. We can sort of ease people into, oh, wow, that's beautiful. We're going to keep clicking. So we were able to get the local newspaper to do an awesome write-up on this property. Of course, didn't cost us a thing. We could have paid for $1,000 ad in the newspaper, and it wouldn't have had the same sort of trustworthiness that having the reporter come out and write the actual article did. So from that, once we had the article out on the newspaper's website, we took that back into our center of our hub and spoke, and then we broke that up and we put quotes of it on our Facebook, and we put made a nice pretty graphic and put it on Instagram with a quoting a little bit of verbiage about it, and then linked back to that article on our blog, so we would get that engagement back.
That's
So
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up your pages here. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
Do you have like a plan? Like you wake up every morning and you create some piece of content? Are you driving it? Is somebody on your team doing it, or is it kind of just loose and rolling as you go?
It's a little of loose and rolling as I go, and a little of a little planning. So I'm the one that for me, the marketing aspect is my creative outlet. So I enjoy that's sort of my canvas. So I enjoy doing this aspect of the business. So I will try to map out a couple weeks at a time. I'll say, okay, I know I have 123 Elm Street coming out. The video is going to be ready next Monday. I can put that on my channels by Wednesday. I have another, say this article's coming out on this other listing next week too. I'll sort of try to coordinate that around so everything's not coming out all at once. So, I'm trying to get better about mapping things out, and there's some great apps that I've been playing around with that will help you with that. But that's sort of one of the things I'm working on, is getting more choreographed with that and not so in my head where, I'm waking up every day going, oh, okay, what are we going to post today? But it's worked out well when you keep having consistent, properties, listings come in. They give you material to use and put out there.
I think that's a really big point. It's something I experienced personally, and at least I know you have, and other people listening, where you start doing this, you start making the content, and it almost becomes so much fun that you can't help but do it.
Right. It doesn't turn off.
Oh yeah, it's addicting. I can't. It's bad when I send out an email newsletter blast to our database. I'm like immediately there on MailChimp, like seeing who opened it, who clicked on it, how many times they interacted with it. Okay,
yes.
Have they been to are they in our conversion? What have they been looking at? So that means if they're in our conversion from a year and a half ago, we haven't seen or heard from them, but we see they're opening our emails. We know they're still paying attention to us. They're just not necessarily in the market right that minute. So we could even reach out, and say, hey, just checking in to see how you're doing.
Do you know what we call that? We call that the click and Neigh effect.
Exactly. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
The click and Neigh.
It's the click and Neigh effect. Yeah, there you go. So I know you have a couple of different types of. I mean, I know you have the Instagram, which is you're using the stories, like the live stories up in the top left-hand corner. If you're not familiar, everyone, with Instagram, when you go on there on your app on your phone, or if you look at it on desktop, when there is a circle around their photo, that means there's actually a new live story of which you can watch and learn more information, at the time they can go live, or, the video is saved there. And then they can create different types of stories within, like we saw with the $1 million listing a few minutes ago. And then you have the regular posts. And I know you really leverage these, the posts, the Instagram TV, and so forth. So there's a lot of tools of which you can use within Instagram, as well as within Facebook. I know you've got the black stream, the equestrian properties, and I know that's become like a niche for you with the luxury estates. So how did you really kind of land there and figure that was your focus, your thing?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I want to bounce back to Instagram real quick before I forget. And you had a great introduction on the stories. So basically, how I use stories that is basically behind the scenes, just on off the cuff, the circle around. So that's like earlier this morning when we were out with the photographer, we're walking through the house with my phone, just, check out this house and the $1 million views, gorgeous. There's Jason with Ayers Productions down there shooting the photos and the video, getting ready for us. And
Right.
then, so that's really kind of behind the scenes of my day. And, basically how real estate agents have the same, kind of things that we do on a day-to-day to weekly basis. So that's the kind of stuff that I put out on the stories, Insta stories, and then, personal stuff. So me with my dog on our local hiking trail,
Right.
that sort of thing gets people in to know, like, and trust you because they're seeing you behind the scenes. You're not scripted and perfect. Like if you look at my actual Insta feed, all the pictures posted are perfect, pretty, curated is probably the word I'd use for that. But if you look at my stories, they're all off the cuff, just me and my dog
Right.
and, me meeting the photographer, or me showing houses, or take a look at this chandelier at this house, or, check out this abysmal tile. Yeah. Yeah.
The facets of Damian Hall. Really. I think
can I ask a
one
question?
time you got locked in a wine cage, right? Or wine thingy? Where'd that go?
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
We were at a showing, and so that was an opportunity where there was a gorgeous wine cellar there, and my assistant was with me, and I said, well, just snap this picture really quick. So got back in the car, just posted on Instagram with a clever caption, and I mean that's done really well with engagement. So
yes,
you start to look for opportunities to post some fun things to
and play
for people to interact with. Yeah, and then it's not salesy, it's not here you come buy this house. It's sort of fun.
Well, I mean, and with marketing, really, when you have someone that's engaging in that level of play, that's like the highest level of engagement because they're actually picturing themselves there doing something. So when you get that engagement, they're like, "Ooh, cool! That sounds like fun." That's why yesterday I'm like, "Hey, need any help in that wine cellar? What's going on?"
Yeah, exactly.
Because it gives people to interact, right? Because it's fun, interesting kind of stuff to relate to.
Or if they're scrolling my feed, or they've just come into our ecosystem and getting to know us, they're like, "Oh, well, he's
Right.
fun. He likes wine.
Right.
I like wine. I need to
Yeah.
go. We need to work with Damian."
Right. See, there you go.
But yeah, and then moving forward to the equestrian niche
Mm-hmm.
aspect. So that's just something that sort of has evolved. One of my mentors when I first moved up in around 2010, 11, and got back into sales, her main source of business, she only worked horse farms. So I really got to know, and we were fortunate enough to be in an area that is historically very rich with equestrian traditions and horsey activities going back to early 1900s. So there were a lot of really cool, charming 1930s style, just kind of like you'd see in the Hamptons farms tucked away in this area.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of piqued my interest because the properties are so unique, so beautiful. There's a lot of different elements to it. You're not just selling a house. You then have to look at, you have barns, arenas, guest houses, cottages, trail systems for the horses. So there's just so many other aspects that you're sort of having to promote and work with here. And then when you flip that on the other side, looking at that from a marketing standpoint, that gives you a lot more content to break off of one property listing, because then now you have pieces of the house you could show. You have beautiful drone footage you can roll over. You have,
Right.
I mean, we have one video of a farm with a couple of riders in the arena doing jumps that was just really visually stunning. So that gives us a lot of more content that we're already creating for our property, but it just, for everybody else that is on our social channel or following us on social channels, they're seeing that and they're enjoying that content.
Awesome.
Follow that up with, now we have the Tryon International Equestrian Center, which, if anybody's familiar with Wellington, Florida, that's
huge. That's a big part of the Rolex world and eventing, isn't it?
Exactly. So you have like Bruce Springsteen's daughter participates,
Yeah.
Bloomberg's, just big money and Tryon, just the founders of the Wellington equestrian facilities down there, have opened a new $200 million facility here in Tryon, well, about 45 minutes from me. And that, has drawn sort of a renewed resurgence of farms and, trainers and eventers and all that comes with the equestrian crowd with it. So I wanted to jump on that opportunity. I loved the beautiful properties and the farms, that really brought me in. And then B, I saw the opportunity with a new demographic of new age of horse folks that were going to be coming to the area because of the new equestrian center. So we tried to get ahead of that. And that's sort of where we came up with DHG Equestrian. Just primarily that arm of the Damian Hall Group focuses just primarily on the horse farms.
Right. Well, it's an incredible opportunity with the equestrian world because it can go anywhere from domestic to international very, very easily. So do you find that as you keep focusing on this niche, your depth and breadth of reach is like expanding out into other countries, or word of mouth, referrals, and so forth?
Absolutely. Yeah. We had an inquiry on this farm that you're actually scrolling through right now, from a very, very wealthy individual yesterday. He lives out in LA, and he sponsors one of the Olympic equestrian riders. So, he just casually reached out through our landing page on this website, or for this property, and said, hey, send me some more info. And then, of course, we Google him, do a little more research, and we say, hey, oh, this guy's, legit.
Right.
So there's a lot of that. And we've had connections now in like Ocala, Florida, of course, down in Wellington, France,
right.
Germany, New York. And this is something I knew zero, I knew nothing about farms or horses prior to 2010. So, just
you got
something.
A crash course.
Yeah, real quick. And I'm ambitious, so I don't shy away. If somebody's handing me $1 million farm, I'm going to say sure, and then I'm going to figure it out as fast as possible. And so, there's a lot of that until now, where I'm, extremely confident around a $6 million farm, on 50 acres with commercial sort of amenities. But it's not something that I was born into and automatically had knowledge of. You just sort of had to dive in and learn it, and then learn the lifestyle around it,
and the culture.
And the culture, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's really exciting, and I think, Brian, have there been any questions about anything so far we can tackle?
Let's get some questions, and I have this selfish compulsion because I have a ton of questions I want to ask, but I'm going to let the let's get some audience questions first. Someone is asking, how do you upload a pre-recorded video to Instagram? How do you go about doing that?
Pre-recorded video to Instagram. So I did that just a little while ago and I'm assuming they mean for their Instagram profile, not story. With that,
right,
I just
simply, stories are more live, correct?
Yeah. So the stories I can literally you record through Instagram, and then you can also record a video before that and upload it into your story. But your quality, sometimes it's not going to be configured right. But pretty much, if you want to, you just click that plus button to your profile. It'll pull up your camera roll in your phone, and then I'm doing this now on my iPhone, and then you can pick from videos that I've shot on my phone, and just press that video, and it'll pop that right into Instagram, and then you follow that and say next, and then it'll let you choose your filter, and then you can flow through from there.
And what I'll do for everyone when we're done is I'll create a quick little tutorial on my mobile, just saying, hey, once you get to Instagram, here's how you can do X, Y, Z. And I think that might help people who are kind of now interested in pursuing Instagram to kind of get their feet wet and, and learn how to do it.
Yeah, I think you're all very smart too to be on this webinar and to be interested in Instagram, because that is the direction that, I mean, all of your influencers are on, and not just influencers like social media influencers, but your influencers that make decisions in their household. So, your demographics that are pulling the purse strings and making those decisions on when to buy and how to buy, and, everything from real estate to, regular household materials. And it's, growing like wildfire.
It's incredible, and you meet a lot of interesting people. Case in point, right?
Yeah.
So,
oh, yeah.
And I think because you have the state of the market, the state of the art marketing and this consistency of branding across your channels, I noticed you also created a concierge service, or you're working with a concierge service. So how is that linking into your business and the services of which your office offers?
Good questions. So I'm really excited about this. So I'm always looking for ways to add value for our clients. So, I mean, whether that's, of course, always providing first class customer service. They can get me on my cell phone via text day or night. I'm going to respond right back. And then, moving even a direction outward with that, I partnered with a local concierge service, and basically we're offering our clients, our sellers and buyers, 8 hours of complimentary concierge service. So if they list with us, we're going to send over their own concierge to help them declutter. If they want to wait until the house is under contract, the concierge will come help them pack, take pictures off the wall, or coordinate movers. Just a whole host of things that they can do to help de-stress the moving situation, which is a pain point for a lot of our clients. And then on the buying side, we also offer that same 8 hours to a new client that's moving to town, and our concierge will literally meet their moving truck, on moving day at the house. And after walking through with that buyer beforehand, they can help point the movers, as to where the furniture and boxes go. They'll be there to help you hang pictures. They'll mount your TVs. They will
kind of steward the move.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's, any number of things. If you're too busy getting unpacked, Betty Byers getting unpacked that first week, and the kids, or say the dog needs to go to the vet or get groomed, or the car needs to get serviced, they'll automatically plug you in with, okay, what kind of car do you have? We'll point you in the right direction of the right dealership or right repair place. We'll even take your car there. We'll take Fluffy to the groomer for you while you deal with getting your house in order. And we have them setting up home offices too. So our clients are loving that. So they move into the house.
And they're just ready
our concierge will go in and help set up, organize their home office. So that's ready to roll. So there's really limitless opportunities of how our clients can utilize the concierge. And I'll tell you a little secret. So the deal I worked with our Monogram, or this concierge, was I'm buying 4 hours and they're contributing 4 hours.
Oh, so nice.
Their goal is to retain these clients on a longer term basis, which, I'd say probably 35% of the time they will, especially our buyer clients that move to the area. They have busy lives, busy schedules. And once they're ingrained with this concierge type service on the front end, they'll say, oh, that's really convenient, and here's a million other things you could do. And then, when these situations come up, they're like, oh, we'll call Joyce or whoever, and she'll take care of this for us. So, that was it's a win-win for me and the concierge. So basically, they're charging me $50 an hour. I'm paying $200, for these clients. Right. And they're buying, usually 500,000 plus homes. So, it's a drop in the bucket.
Small investment for service.
Yeah, and that provides it's a huge step up of service that they're going to remember, and they're going to tell their friends. And I've even kept that ongoing. We'll continue paying. We have sellers who just sold a farm for 1.3 million, and they needed more than 8 hours. And I said, Joyce, just let me know how many hours, they're really utilizing your service. They're loving you. They're like singing your praises from the hills. So I said, give them another 5 hours on me, and, we'll work that out. So, it's just really convenient. And it keeps me from getting a lot of phone calls going, hey, I need this, or I need that, or, can you recommend this? Can you recommend that? So for us, this concierge partnership has been magnificent.
Now, when you approached them, is this something that you knew them before, or was it something where like, hey, I think we should look at this? Or how did you come about forming that partnership?
So it was an idea that I had, and I pitched it to them to see if they would be interested, and they were very interested.
Awesome. It's really cool, because it's a way of also you engaging with your community and keeping things local, which is really becoming a lot more important to folks, in the past couple of years. So, buying local, keeping local is a huge, huge theme.
Yeah, and I've recommended I have, referral and realtor friends in Atlanta and other places, and I've suggested they do set up the same kind of relationship with other concierge service in their town. And it sounds like from a couple of them that I've spoke with, these concierge services are very welcome to this sort of relationship. So if you happen to have that service in your town, I think that's something that, they would be open to having that conversation and opening that door.
Right. We help build their business.
Exactly. Yeah. They want in with our clients and our buyers coming to town. So it works really well for them. And now we have them, they're setting up our client appreciation party on Thursday evening or happy hour. So they're basically becoming our own personal assistants as well, because they know how we operate. They know how we like things. They know, how we want everything to be. So that's sort of something secondary that's evolved from that relationship. That's pretty cool.
That's very cool, because if they can help you organize events, it takes something off of your plate and you can rely on them because they have consistency of service.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm not just, I've had a lot of, other people say, well, if we could just cut checks to people too, like this, we'd be able to have all of this service and stuff too. But it's, again, I'm negotiating with them and bartering. So they wanted exposure on my $1 million listing show. So I made them a sponsor on my $1 million listing show if they would do X amount of hours for me personally. So that, we were able to create, something there where I'm not having to also pay out, but especially when times, the budget's tight, you can't necessarily shell out $500 a month on your personal concierge as much as you like to. So that's worked really well.
And for everyone wondering, I have added links into Damian's different social medias, his domain, Instagram, YouTube channels, Facebook, and Twitter here. So you'll be able to peruse these and take a look at how he might be, presenting the opportunities in his company and himself in different manners through these different channels, which is pretty neat. Ryan, were there any other questions? Say again, Damian.
And they can feel free to reach out to me if you have any specific questions afterwards. I'm happy to, help reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll try to answer any questions I can if I know.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Ryan, any questions come up?
Yeah. So I have some tactical stuff, just some things people are asking, some things are coming to my mind. Do you find with Instagram that you get more engagement on the stories or the feed, or is the content the thing?
You get more engagement on the feed itself, and that is promoted by the hashtag. So, your pictures are they're a lot easier to be found via use of the hashtags. So we tend to get a lot more engagement on that. And tips there, a little nugget on that. I've actually partnered with 20 other real estate agents from around the country, and we have our own little Instagram group. So we will, whenever we have a new post, we will just do a little notice in our little group of direct message and say, hey, I have a new post. And then the other 20 agents in our group will go comment on that person's post. They'll like it and they'll comment. So that in turn helps our algorithm, because Instagram is grading your post based on how many people are interacting with it. So by having this little group of secret ninjas come and make a little comment, that is helping drive up, it's helping make Instagram's algorithms a little more happier and making more people see our posts.
That's awesome. And then, so I really like that. Are you using, we had a question, are you using paid ads on Facebook to feature certain posts, or is it all organic?
I have slowed down on the paid ads. I am doing a lot more organically in the last 6 months than I have in the past. Beforehand, I was spending about $15,000 a year on Facebook ads. And it just got to the point where I've just been, again, busy, and I've just sort of slowed down on that. But a lot of it, I'm able to reach organically now. And that's by, if you're producing pretty content, again, with, like pretty houses or puppies or babies, people are going to interact with it. And they're going to, if you can encourage people to share or comment, that's also huge. One of the things, Annalisa, I think you you might have saw on Easter, I put up a graphic that said Reese's egg or Cadbury eggs. Which one do you prefer? And
Yes.
and I could
Yes.
care less. I mean, honestly, I could care less. But
Right.
we did that to get people to comment, because the more people that comment on that,
Right.
give me their preference, they're going to be now seeing our feed and
Yeah.
stuff. So they're all little things that you can do organically to help, boost without having to pay. But I am sorry, long-winded answer to that question. I am putting about $100 behind our listing videos. So when we have a new listing video come out, or our new photos for a listing, I am putting $100 on that and then advertising it to our local, within 5 miles of that address.
Great. That kind of leads into the next question. I assume on your listing appointments, you're mentioning all this stuff, concierge service, your organic reach. Just can you talk about how that's kind of presented in the listing appointment?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a lot of our sellers, or our appointments, we'll send them to our social channels ahead of time, and we'll send them an email with a link to, here's our Facebook page, here's our Instagram, here's our website that is just for sellers, that tells you everything we do, and that's sellmygvlhome.com. And so we try to we bring them into our ecosystem if we can before the meeting. So that way it's not just something we're telling them we're doing. They can actually see it and see proof and see an actual example of what we do. And then, that has a lot more merit, I think, than us just trying to show them, on our iPad or something awkwardly. If the buyer or seller has time to go through our digital presence before we meet with them, we find that they're much more educated and trusting of us, at that appointment, than us having to sell ourselves. So typically I just, touch on it lightly and just, ask if they've seen the information we have on that. We also are in the process of setting up drip emails so that, if we have an appointment next Wednesday with a seller, then 3 days prior to that, they're getting an email about our concierge service with a link to, monogram our concierge, and then, a blurb paragraph about how they might be able to use our concierge. And then the next day they're getting an email maybe about our Instagram presence. Have you followed us on Instagram? If not, check us out here and see how we've marketed other properties like yours. So we're in the process of setting up a drip campaign that also helps educate them before our meeting. So again, we don't have to try, and it's often hard too when you're at the table with a seller, or, conference table with a buyer, to explain everything around all of our different programs. So that's
sure. And then your use of conversion, I assume it then becomes more of a back-end CRM and just a kind of the branded site for people to go to. It's hard to drive traffic off Instagram directly into a squeeze link, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm finding for Instagram, it's more, I'm able to retarget them because of Facebook and Instagram now being owned by the same, Facebook owns Instagram. We're able to sort of bring that Instagram user, if they've engaged with us, I'll find them either on LinkedIn or Facebook. And then from there, I can kind of keep dragging them into my funnel, or, sort of encouraging them to come further in, give us more information, like their email address or something like that. And that's some of those ways are also like this client happy hour that I'm doing. I personally DM'd that graphic that you're hovering, that out to a lot of the different people that have been commenting on my Instagram stories and on the pictures we're posting. So I just took, saved that in my phone, and then just DM'd a couple of people that are always liking my stuff on Instagram, and said, we're having a happy hour, drop in for our clients and friends. I hope you can make it next Thursday. So I've had great response to that. People are like, oh my God, thank you for including me. That's so nice. And then, it's another way to sort of help get them into your sphere. But we are doing the conversion sites. So we're doing a lot of paid Facebook ads for getting people into conversion. And then from there, they incubate. And then once they become, they're responding to our auto drips, responding to our auto text, then we'll basically pull them into our social ecosystem again and say, be sure to like our Instagram page, follow us on, Facebook and all that jazz. So that's sort of once they raise their hand in conversion, then we sort of lead them the rest of the way into our, the rest of our channels, so to speak.
This is wonderful, and what I hoped you would say, because we had a question in the chat, like, how many leads are you getting from this? I'm sure you are getting some direct leads, but to me, this is the ultimate lead conversion strategy. Somebody comes in, you send them a drip email, it's got your Instagram profile in the footer, right? Whatever you're doing.
Exactly.
They engage with you on social, and then you become top of mind, the guy they want to work with over time.
Exactly. Yeah. Then you're not just somebody that's, called them 3 times and texted them, and then they're putting a name to the face. And the whole idea behind all of our social channels, we want people to know, like, and trust us, because if they know, like, and trust us, they're going to want to do business with us. So that's sort of our montage with what we're trying to do.
That's great. Thanks. That's it for me, Annalisa. I don't know if anybody else has any questions in the chat, or if you had any more, Annalisa.
No, I don't. I think this has been really helpful for everyone to kind of get an idea of how they can utilize these different social media accounts, especially Instagram, to relate to their audiences out there. And I think that's really what this is about, because then you can establish a relationship that way and then cultivate them, like he was speaking to, with retargeting or Facebook or Instagram, or sending out different types of touches, like the appreciation events. So hopefully this has been helpful to everyone.
Yeah, that's it. And I have one more nugget too. I just thought of. So we have, and this works really well with our conversion, we have a morning newsletter that goes out for our city. It's called Greenville Today, GVL Today. And I know they have one, like there's I think Tennessee, they're launching in a couple of cities. There's an Asheville today, there's Charleston today. So I know some of the southeastern cities, this new company is growing really well on it at gvltoday.com. So they have about 50,000 subscribers, and every morning they send out an email saying, here's what is going on around town, here's what you missed, here are the networking events going on. So I was able to, for $150 a listing, I have them in that morning newsletter. They say there's a section they call digs, and they're like, here are the new homes just listed, and there's usually 2 or 3. So for $150, I get our new listing into their morning newsletter. And
Wow.
Then the link that I give them is the link back to the conversion property, the property and conversion, which captures their info. And that produces like 150 leads every time we put in, a property in this morning newsletter, which is pretty cool.
That's amazing. This is an incredible resource.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, there are other versions of this newsletter that are popping up around, different towns and cities. So just keep an eye out if there's some sort of newsletter or somebody's cultivating information, or even like a central blog where people are posting about events and things.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a way you can ask them to post your property and then put it, link it to, there's one of ours. And then you can link it back to that property on your conversion site, and it's going to, for us, it's been a game changer.
Oh, hey, contingent. Woohoo. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has just been an incredibly enlightening, I think, for people. Maybe give everyone some fresh eyes on how to approach social media a little differently.
Yeah, there you go. Annalise, you want to sign up there, and I can sell you a house.
You gonna connect me on some drips?
Yeah. We got some beautiful farms.
Okay.
We have some beautiful horse properties for you. You can click a Neigh all the way over to the southeast here.
Well, I haven't been owned by a horse in about 10 years, but I got about 25 years of experience with them.
Nice. See, you're a pro.
I've cleaned enough stalls in my time. But yeah, so I can see you've got that site is then connected directly to your domain, and this could be connected via KV Core or K Plus very, very easily if you have that type of newsletter, or even create your own or talk with someone locally to partner on one, maybe start one. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities here. Anything else, Ryan?
No, that's it. David, thank you, man. I learned a lot. I had some other ideas I might reach out to you privately. I think in general, we are lacking Instagram training. So if it's all right, we might just reach out for little answers, and we'll try to get some additional resources, as Annalisa said, just in our library about the basics of Instagram and the advanced type of strategies that Damian's using.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to help however I can.
Awesome. Well, thank
Thank
you so much for taking the time to be here today. And just so everyone knows, this is recorded. It will be placed into each of the discussion groups, as well as on the little matrix sheet that's in the discussion groups, emailed to you every Saturday, and it's in your chat via your dashboard at the bottom right-hand side. So you have a lot of ways to access this. And Ryan, anything else to add before we close?
Just that in the learning portal, I just dropped an alpha version of our Facebook ads course. It's got about 30 videos so far. And there is a little bit about Instagram, placing ads on Instagram, but I think we're going to add a few more now. I'm inspired by this. And I think there's a nice, if you're going to create the content, I think that's the first step, is to do the stuff Damian's doing. But once you have the content, there's a lot of leverage to be had from using the paid channels. So we'll be exploring that more as we go forward.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for being here, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks again, Damian. Bye.
Thank you.